And we're live. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode number 12 of the GamersSphere Weekly Spherecast. Here with me today, I have my fellow co-host, GamersSphere PlayStation editor, Ryan Neese.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And I'm your other co-host for the day, GamerSphere Xbox editor, Agasicles and Ryan. This is the weekly show where we run down the top stories of the week from our site, GamerSphere.com, adding additional commentary from the attending editors and giving you a little extra detail or extra discussion on the news stories that you found the most interesting during the week. So at the top of the rundown sheet today is a story by Nintendo editor Michael Zack. Satoru Iwata confirms Nintendo's difficulties. So this was a post that Mike made about the financial reports. If you're not aware, this is earnings month for pretty much all businesses who have some stockholder operations in North America. So Nintendo was first in the chute this week and reported a loss, a significant loss. Ryan, did you have a chance to take a look at this story?
Yeah, I read through it just before we came up here. Actually, some pretty interesting stuff, must be honest. I kind of like the fact that, what's his name, Satoru? So, I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yep.
Satoru Iwata?
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that he's, like in that quote that he's got there, that he needs to fulfill his responsibility by recovering the momentum of the business. I actually, besides all the crap that goes on with it, it's nice to see some sort of commitment or dedication, not just walking away from the table. I really like that. I respect that.
Yeah, and I think that's not atypical for Japanese businesses. They seem to take a little more personal responsibility for the performance of corporations from their C-level officers. The thing that's interesting in this story for me is, I just feel like Nintendo does a lot of this to themselves by failing to recognize what's actually going on with their customer base. And we've talked about it on several of the various GamerSphere podcasts that run around the site. That there is a dwindling customer base of Nintendo consumers, and it gets less and less each generation. With the Wii being the one exception to that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, I mean, Nintendo's thing though is that the gamers will say one thing and they'll run in the complete opposite direction of what they want to do.
Right, and that's and to that I say that famous American football quote that they always tell head coaches. You don't let your fans call the plays, right? Because if you're doing what your fans tell you, you'll wind up losing games and your head coaching career will be very short. And I just feel like Nintendo needs to make the recognition that they're not going to continue to be successful by simply repeating the things that they have always done. When you continue.
Well,
go ahead.
I mean, for me personally, obviously I used to play Nintendo back when Nintendo was pretty much the only gaming platform to have, and you were the cool kid to have it. But one of the reasons I never got into Nintendo afterwards, like since Sony came along, is because it was the same product over and over and over again. While some people like that, and that's cool, to each his own, I've always wanted something new and innovative from Nintendo. And that's, like Wii, I fell into that pretty hard as well. I really loved the Wii. And if I could afford the Wii U, I would totally get it, but not with the limited games that is actually currently on it. I think if they had to push through with something completely new, like a whole new product, or new IPs for even the Wii U or for anything else that they've got on handhelds, I would completely be sold on on Nintendo, and actually maybe start investing more time and effort into them as what I've done with PlayStation.
Well, hopefully that'll be a direction that they head. Iwata mentioned that that he recognizes that they need to be working on new hardware products and new technologies. Of course, that was what they said they were doing with the Wii U, and then it just kind of fell over with a sigh. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's move on to our second story in the rundown this week. The review of the Outlast Whistleblower DLC by your fellow PlayStation editor Matt Shiflett. So Matt was pretty happy with this game, apparently.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, he thoroughly enjoyed Outlast. So I mean, I couldn't imagine him not enjoying this.
Right. I'm not sure if he wrote it in the article, but I think so. He says it was it's $8.99 on the PlayStation Network now. I think he said it was maybe. Did he say it was about 2 to 4 hours of gameplay? I can't remember.
Somewhere around there. But I mean, a lot of people probably deem that kind of short, I think that's freaking awesome, because I mean the whole point of that thing is to go slow, and you can't really rush through those things. You're going to ruin the experience anyway. So I mean, for that price and what you're getting out of it is just, I think it's amazing. I can't wait to try this DLC. It's a very well written review, I must say.
Yeah, did you play Outlast?
I actually started playing it, but I could never finish it. I'm too much of a wimp. So.
Yeah, I played it on the PC, and I definitely had to. I mean, there were some elements of the quality of the game that were a key part of me not wanting to finish it. But then also the subject material also made it not the most pleasant thing to play. But I wound up getting up one. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What specifically made you not want to play anymore, though?
I just I thought it does a really great job of mirroring the horror movie genre. The problem with that is that the horror movie genre, by definition, is a sequence of contrivances made to create situations that are highly unlikely simply for the sake of attempting to startle you. And at a certain point, that gets. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love horror movies, right? But I also walk into a horror movie knowing what it is and what I'm going to get. And when you translate that to and when it's a horror movie, I know that it's an 80 to 90 minute investment of my time, and then I'm out of the movie theater and I'm done with it, right? But when you translate that as literally as Outlast did into an interactive experience, and then ask me to invest 8 hours of time of kind of jump scares and the go fetch me a rock, or go fetch me three rocks, kind of missions. I mean, I think Outlast is a good game, but it just it has certain mechanics that, had I not been playing it for the purposes of something that had I not been playing it because it was the game of the month on another podcast that I host, then I probably wouldn't have finished that game of my own accord. But I mean, I'm glad I did. I doubt that I'll be playing the DLC. With the DLC out now for Outlast, do you think you'll go back and finish the game and then pick up the DLC?
Yeah, I think so. I'll only be able to play it on PC though. But that's cool. I just need to get my PC up and running. I've still got Outlast on the computer, still at the same place where I was. So it's just a matter of picking it up, go install the DLC, and then carry on. So I think I probably will. I'll definitely get back into it. Totally.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Story number 3 on the rundown is a story that I wrote earlier this week, entitled "Phil Spencer, We Still Want an Xbox." I'm looking at the URL, and I think it truncated some of the title. So it was Phil Spencer, we still want an Xbox handheld, and the time for one is right. So this is a story that I wrote in the wake of some things that Phil Spencer, the head of Microsoft's Xbox division, tweeted out on his Twitter handle, and then also some official announcements from Microsoft indicating that they were not intending to pursue putting out a handheld. The gist of my article was that number one, the 2 key points were there were a few things that Microsoft executives called out as reasons why they were not going to do a handheld, and one of those reasons was that they felt that that Microsoft's Surface RT program and Windows Phone were the places where gamers would play mobile games. And then the second thing that I was counteracting or trying to head off was the claim that many people made that the portable gaming handset market is just too competitive right now for Microsoft to engage in successfully. And so the main points that I listed against that on for Windows Phone, for Windows handhelds was, and I'm a Windows Phone user. Battery life, battery life is still not so great that I'm willing to, get on a plane and expect that I'm going to spend 2 to 4 hours gaming on a cross-country flight, because that's just going to hit my battery life too hard. I would rather do that on a dedicated standalone handheld.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It makes perfect sense, though, until they can actually improve the battery life on it. Then it might not be so viable.
Right. And then of course I would also love hardware controls. on a handheld versus. I mean, I'm okay with touch controls on a mobile device, but having a
Yeah,
set of hardware buttons on there would be nice as well.
yeah, it's not the same. I mean, I was like when I'm playing on my iPhone, it's cool, it's fun, but nothing beats triggers and actual solid buttons or analog sticks or anything like that.
Right,
It's
right.
just so much more fluid. You have more control over it. So if they could implement something like that, I think what I actually think Microsoft probably could do something like that if they just invested the right resources into it. They could actually, I mean, if they can learn lessons from the PSP and PS Vita, they could become quite the competitor.
Yeah, and that was kind of the second half of my article is,
Yeah.
and when this article went up on, in N4G stream, a lot of the responses that people gave back were, well, Nintendo owns that market, and I think, probably not intentionally, but I just don't know that anybody had looked at the data. In the previous generation of handheld consoles, talking about the PlayStation Portable and the Nintendo DS, um,
Yeah.
the handheld market was somewhere between 200 and 220 million units sold. Um,
Wow.
in this generation of handheld consoles, the 3DS has sold, I think, about 44 million units the last time I checked, and the PlayStation Vita has sold somewhere between 6 and 8 million units. So,
Yeah.
so you're talking about, so when people say Nintendo controls the handheld market, I'm like, what market? That market has 170 million people roughly who were in it last generation who have not purchased a handheld in this generation, and
Mm.
one argument is that, well, those people are all playing games on their smartphones or tablets, but I think that part of that is probably true, but I think another part of the truth is because there are no compelling handheld products in that market space. So you know, I feel like with Microsoft unifying all their operating systems, if they would deploy a gaming handheld, and I mean, great Scott. I mean, I wrote the article a month ago or so that Microsoft exclusives just kill it when they come out, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to say all Xbox gamers, but like a huge number of Xbox gamers go buy Halo when it comes out. A huge number of Xbox gamers go buy Gears of War when it comes out. I'm like, just deploy a handheld and put all those stock franchises on that handheld, and you're going to gain the market share that you want. So,
Mm. I agree with you completely. I think that they should really look into doing it though. I mean, if they don't want to, if they want to focus on rather the on the Xbox One and their quality, I suppose that's also kind of cool because they could focus all their resources onto that, making it one of the best consoles of this generation as well. Not taking away from PS4 at all, but I kind of like the standing point of where Microsoft and Sony are at the moment. They both seem to be doing freaking well. So
right, right.
I don't know. I'm quite if they do decide to, which they're obviously not going to, but if they did decide to release a dedicated handheld, I think it would if they could. See, they could learn a lot of lessons from Sony on this, but I definitely think if they can introduce new IPs onto a handheld, or maybe or not port, but bring a Gears of War IP like what Assassin's Creed was and what Borderlands is now on the Sony on the PS Vita, then like what you said, they could tap into that market, and they could really, really increase their sales revenue.
Yep, yep, I totally agree. So, story number 4 on the rundown was my coverage of the Sony earnings call. So, as I said, it is earnings month. Sony had their earnings call, I believe past Wednesday at 9 a.m. for overseas investors. So I said it on that call and posted this article on a Sony earnings call. PS4 launch a strong success, portable sales poor, games profit expected in FY14. So the general gist of this story is Sony's earnings in its games division was down this fiscal year. It was also down last fiscal year. Um, they are expecting it. They're expecting it to turn around next year. One of the things that they have done is they have merged their network services division into their games division. Um,
Yeah,
so those two units will now be able to work more collaboratively in because one of the hottest items in demand now is bandwidth and content delivery servicing the PlayStation Network. Uh,
yeah,
Another story that came out was kind of as I mentioned. Portable sales are really down. Um, Sony's actually leading portable product is the PlayStation Vita TV, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, so what they're saying is that they sold more PlayStation Vita TVs in fiscal year 2014 than they sold PlayStation Vitas, and that thing only sells in Japan. So
Yeah, look, they are planning on releasing Vita TV though internationally, aren't they? Or at least in North America.
the word on the street has been that they do not. I believe that eventually they will, because I think everybody is lots of people are clamoring for that device to be made available outside of Asia.
Yeah.
The thing I don't know is I don't know if Sony's going to be able to pull that off, because in order to do so, I'm sure that they have to engage in partnerships with a lot of content owners and whatnot in North America. But I would hope that they could just leverage the same partnerships that they already have in place for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. I don't know.
That would be so sweet. Yeah.
I guess we'll have to see. I mean, I'm interested in the product not for the TV aspects of it, but because that is a thing that I might use to actually play PlayStation Vita games. Because, like you said, there's just not enough on that platform to warrant me going out and buying a PlayStation Vita.
Yeah.
And I've tried to force myself to rationalize that it would make sense for me to own one, and I haven't been able to come up with the logic.
I want to make sure on this though. The PlayStation Vita TV also allows that remote play from your PS3 and PS4 onto your PlayStation Vita, correct?
So the PlayStation Vita as a standalone has the capability for remote play. I believe the TV also has remote play. So if you, for whatever reason, if you had your PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 in another room, and had your PlayStation Vita TV in another room, then you could access your 3 and 4 and put that on your big screen with the PlayStation Vita TV. I believe that's the case. I'm not absolutely positive.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because I'm actually just more interested in a seamless remote play from anywhere in my house,
right?
Using a Vita. That's what I'm mostly interested in.
Right.
Lag-free, going over my wireless connection. Look, this is very personal. I have problems with my stomach. So if I'm busy playing a game and I have to go to the bathroom, I'd like to be able to take my PlayStation Vita and carry on my game while I'm there. 2 hours in the bathroom, it's good gaming time.
Absolutely, and that also feeds back into what part of my desires and my rationale for an Xbox handheld. Because again, for TVs for families where television screens and real estate are finite resources, right? So if you've got a wife and she's watched, I would love to be able to access my Xbox One content on a dedicated handheld. But to do that, I would definitely want it to have hardware controls. I wouldn't want to play that, with touch.
Yeah, no, of course.
So story number 5 on the rundown is Flapping Dead First Impressions. So this...
Yeah. Look, I would actually like to say this sounds freaking awesome. When Matthew first initially told me about Flappy Bird, like, geez, when he was still on his own blog and I was still on my own blog, I got this game and I thought it was absolutely incredible, Flappy Bird. I've still got it on my phone, and now seeing this, the Flapping Dead, I cannot tell you how excited I am to try this now. Directly after this podcast, I'm downloading this shit. It sounds amazing. I mean, okay, look, it's still Flappy Bird just with a new skin, but it's awesome. Come on, the Flapping Dead, come on. That's cute. That's funny. I want to play it.
So this was a post written by our general news editor, Chemical Rachel, and Ryan. You kind of got into a little bit about what you're excited, about the fact that it excites you, but can you give the viewers a general rundown on what this game is?
What, the Flapping Dead?
Yes, yeah.
Well, it's pretty essentially like Flappy Bird. You're still directing your bird through these obstacles, but I mean, unlike Flappy Bird though, you'll be able to have these different skins from The Walking Dead, which I think is kind of awesome. So you'll be this bird like flying around, but you're Rick from The Walking Dead.
I got you.
Sounds fun. And besides, like the you've got. Oh, okay, I haven't played it yet though. But what I'm excited about though is having these zombies lying underneath you as you're busy flying in this desolate, rundown city, either in the woods or in the city, with a post-apocalyptic background while you're a bird flying through things. Come on, how can you not be excited about that? That's so cool. I think everyone should try it. Just no hate on this. Just try it.
Yeah, was there anything in the story? And I apologize, I just closed the story out. Was there anything in the story about the price? Or is it
It's free from what
free
I've
to
read.
play? Okay, all right, awesome. So
Yeah, it's free to play, and you only if you can unlock the characters like all the because you have like I don't know how many characters there are, 6, 8, maybe 8 or 10 more characters in here that you can unlock.
Right.
The different skins and things. But if you don't want to unlock it the traditional way, you can pay 99 cents. 99 cents? Yes, 99 cents, and get all the characters.
Okay, awesome.
And play through. Yeah, it sounds good.
I wish every free-to-play game was like that. I wish every free-to-play game always just gave you an option to just pay some price outright and access all the content.
Yeah, no, I suppose that would, I mean, especially in a game like this, though. I wouldn't say every game.
Right. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry, I was like, sorry.
All right, story number 6 in the rundown is this is the May update for the list of most highly anticipated games by the GamersSphere editors. So this is one of our collaborative articles, which we hope and expect that we will be doing more of here in the future.
Yeah.
And editors will wind up providing inputs in one or two different ways. Either it'll be, what is the next hottest thing that they're looking forward to, and they plan on, immediately crunching through a single-player campaign on as soon as it hits. So this. So some titles in this list may be, games that are going to come out in the next month or so. And then for some people, sometimes the input is the game that they're looking forward to the most for the whole year of 2014. Yeah. So I know I provided input to this, and again, PlayStation editor Matt Shiflett and I were both looking forward to the same game, which is Destiny on the PlayStation 4. He and I are looking forward to it kind of for a couple different reasons. He's very interested in seeing it because it is kind of that Halo comfort food, but on the PlayStation 4. Whereas that's one of the things that actually kind of concerns me. I'm just a little worried that I like and I'm comforted by the fact that it's heavily derivative of the Halo model, but I am a little concerned that it may be too derivative. I would
instead of being its own IP.
Right.
I see what you're saying. Makes sense.
Particularly if they have the same two weapon constraint that Halo did. That was a mechanic that became convention. I don't know, maybe it started becoming convention maybe about 10 years ago that, everybody was trying to break the mold of first-person shooters, just giving you unlimited access to however many weapons you want, just getting to a point where you could theoretically be carrying around every weapon available in the game, to this new model, which is, you can only carry 2 weapons, a primary, typically a handgun and some type of rifle. And you have to constantly do this inventory management of dropping weapons and picking up new weapons. Like I'm over it. Like, it was cool 10 years ago, but now I just want to go back to the model where you could just be carrying every weapon in the game at one point. I don't care about realism. Like, first-person shooters aren't realistic anyway. So let's just stop fooling ourselves that somehow we're making it more immersive by constraining me to 2 weapons. I'm like, just give me all the guns so I can use them however I see fit.
You actually took the wind out of my sails because I was about to say it's probably more realistic in that way. And then, thanks for that. I mean, for me, I'm okay with a handgun, a secondary weapon like a rifle, and then a tertiary weapon. Or a tertiary weapon, is that the right choice of word?
Yeah, yep, that's correct.
Yeah, that's right. Like a sniper rifle or some sort of huge mega death cannon, something like that. I don't know. Just to me, it does kind of add to the realism, depending on the type of game that you're playing. I mean, you can have like your fantastical, set in Halo universes and stuff, and I would expect to be able to carry like 6 weapons with me because I don't know the fucking universe. You know,
Right.
I'm going to be prepared for anything that comes my way.
Right.
But if you're going to be making a game which is like Doomish or like Quake or Unreal Tournament, then I can also expect to have a crap load of weapons just thrown at my arsenal, going, okay, cool, let's do this shit.
Right. So it's a pretty interesting list. When we started putting this article together, I did not think it was going to come out this highly varied. So, we have people who are looking forward to Warlords of Draenor, the 5th WoW expansion. We have some editors looking forward to the next Lord of the Rings game, which is coming out this year. We have
that's Brad, isn't it? I think that's Brad.
That is, yeah. Mobile games editor and YouTube channel manager Brad. We have Chemical Rachel, who's looking forward to H1Z1, and what did John Heat say he was looking forward to?
John Heat is most excited about Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs.
And The Division. The Division's only coming out in 2015. So.
Right.
So with me, I'm actually on par with John there. I've only got 2 games this year that I'm looking forward to. One of them is Watch Dogs. Just that whole mantra of everything being connected and multiplayer and single player being seamlessly integrated. It just seems like such an ambitious idea that I'm hoping plays out well. So I'm really excited to see how that comes out. And of course, Arkham Knight. Come on.
When is that supposed to release? Do you know?
I think it's still October this year.
Okay. All right, very cool. In time for Halloween, maybe?
Yeah, damn straight. Hopefully. Because there was a rumor that it was going to be delayed, but from what I've read, though, it's still on schedule, still coming out in October.
Okay. So after that, stories 7 and 8 in the rundown this week are Rachel's coverage of Bound by Flame. So she's been doing several Let's Plays. I think she did a total of 7 or 8 episodes and posted those all to the site. You can either catch up with those by going to the GamersSphere Twitch channel or going to the site and checking out the posts. I don't think we'll get into that one too much, Ryan, because I don't think either one of us are very familiar with that game. But I can... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm not familiar with it, but I am actually quite curious to play it, though. I mean, I've been reading a lot of great reviews, and then I watched one of Rachel's Let's Plays the other day, and I got to be honest, I was very intrigued. And then one of the friends here around where I stay also mentioned that he started playing it. Actually, he can't get enough of it. I don't know what it is about this game, but people are liking it. And it's starting to get me excited. I'm getting hyped up about it. So actually, I might give this a try.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this game falls out at the end of the year in terms of how well it's sold. There are always these games, and I'm going to paint it with this stripe because this is how I think it's going to turn out. These games that are fan favorites, but not commercial successes. Because they're not the big AAA games with a huge marketing campaign behind them. So I think Kingdoms of Amalur was a little like that. Lots of people who played that game were very pleased by it, but it didn't sell well right off the bat. So, but what I will say is that video series has been very popular on the site. Rachel's Let's Play episodes have been very informative, and people have really appreciated them. So, if you're thinking about that game, you definitely owe it to yourself to go check out at least 1 or 2 of those Let's Plays and just kind of get some more background on the game. Story number 8 in the rundown, which is another one that I think we won't go into that much, Ryan, unless you want to, is a new character release. I think it is this week or last week for Dota 2. Huskar, the Pouncing Bone Cat.
Yeah, that is indeed the story, and I tend to I'm one of those asshole gamers sometimes. I tend to make fun of people that play Dota, so. I don't think I should get into it. To each his own, but yeah, I don't want to. It sounds good. If you like Dota, then you got a cool new character coming in, so definitely play it. But I don't have much to add to it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is and this story was written by our frequent columnist on the site, Lanzer. These are the kind of gamers that, to a certain extent, I'm jealous of because they've selected not necessarily a niche, but they've selected a thing about gaming that they can get into and find enjoyment in that and stick to it and focus on it. My problem with MMOs and MOBAs is I just haven't been willing to get into them because I feel like they do take a certain amount of dedication and focus, and I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know. There's no way that I could do that without sacrificing my other gameplay time. So, at the
Yeah,
end of
I agree with that. It makes sense. I mean, I can't see myself. I mean, was it Dota one? I can't remember which one it was. I saw gameplay video of Dota, and I couldn't get into it because it just seemed very, very repetitive and very quick matches doing the same thing over and over again.
yeah,
But I do understand that there's a lot of strategy involved, though. Again,
right,
I've never actually played it myself. So again, to each his own. If you like it, that's cool.
right,
But I just can't seem to get into it. That's a lot of, like what you just said. You have to commit a shitload of time to that.
right, right. So last story in the rundown. So amazingly enough, we will have made it through all 9 stories in this first week of our new format. Um, in very close to the 30-minute time target that we're shooting for to keep viewers moving right along to their next event. So the last story in the rundown is the Stick It to the Man review, again by our PlayStation editor Matt Shiflett. So this is another one that he found quite excellent. Didn't enjoy it quite as much as he did the Outlast DLC. But this is an indie game that has been released on the PlayStation 4, which, in the build-up to its release, Matt did not find particularly interesting. But the more he got into it, the more he kind of came around, and is apparently a very strong supporter of the title. Ryan, have you been interested in this game at all, or have you been following it?
I actually only just. I mean, I'd heard of it, but I'd never really given it the light of day. And then I saw a gameplay video of it, and it looks absolutely amazing. I think I must have watched about an hour and a half of this, and it's just so it's bizarre, creepy, cute, interesting, weird, all at the same time. It's such an interesting measure of all these different elements thrown together, and it just works so well. I think people should really give this game a chance. I mean, it reminds me of Little Big Planet, but with a serious twist.
Does it play at all like Rayman Legends or anything? No, it doesn't play like that.
No.
Okay.
It's very platform heavy. Don't get me wrong, but it's nothing like that. The gameplay itself and the story is insanely interesting, and the dialogue is just so funny, and I mean, the story is just so simple yet so I don't know what's the word, adorable, cute, endearing. I don't know. There are so many things. I think it's totally worth viable getting right now, and the fact that it's on PSN for free if you are a member of PS Plus, totally get it. I really think people would enjoy this. So just give it a chance.
Yeah, and like you'll always hear me say, PlayStation 4 needs games. So, I mean, Xbox One does too. So it's good to see, it's good to see titles continuing to come out at hopefully a steadily increasing pace. So, Ryan, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. You know me. I'm not really a big fan of indie games, but I mean, there's been like 4 or 5 indie games lately that I've really been enjoying. This now is one of them. When I get a PlayStation 4, this is definitely going to be on my list.
All right, absolutely awesome. So that is it for this week's weekly Spherecast. The winning platform, if you want to call it that, the platform with the most stories in the hot sheet was the PlayStation platform. That was a mix of corporate news, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation Vita news. So if you want to catch up with me and any of my goings-on, you can catch me on any social network under the name of Agasicles and Ryan. If you specifically want to follow me on Twitter, you can catch me at Agasicles and Ryan. If you want to catch up with PlayStation editor Ryan Neese, you can catch him on Twitter at GamersTherapy. Any place else that they should look for you on social media, Ryan?
If anybody ever wants to game with me online or something like that, you can hook me up on PSN. Name is VitoSal, VITOSAL.
Okay, we will be back here next week to give you another rundown of the hottest news from the GamersSphere.com site. Until then, keep checking out the site and supporting us. The weekly Spherecast is great, but what we really need is people heading to the site and reading the articles and retweeting, reposting, sharing any links that we put out there on social media. It definitely helps keep the lights on and helps keeping us moving forward. So thanks a lot, everybody,
That's
for joining in. Thanks a lot for anybody who pulls this, who pulls down the Spherecast and watches it later. We'll keep retooling and refining this formula and hopefully giving you guys the content you want. Until then, that is another episode of the Weekly Spherecast in the can, and we are out of here.
See ya.